Alright, so I'm making an ST-205. It's also the same as the ST-135, same steps, same, just about the same thing. So this piece here is going to be the top, back, and bottom of the bag. You'll notice that there is a hole on one end, right smack in the center. So I want to first deal with the side that has no hole. And I also take my piece of vinyl, and this one has a side missing to it. So this piece here, this has some notches and some holes. So I'm going to match this up with this side. What I'm looking to do right now is to kind of tack this in place. So when it gets cut, it's hard to have it be exactly the same shape. So there's going to be some variances. You can see, like here, I've got a little bit on one side. Just go ahead and center it as best as you can, and just tack it as close to the edge as you can, so that when you sew it all together, you can use a standard seam allowance and not have to worry about your tacking showing. So as I come up this side here, you will see there is notches on the side where the drill holes are. So that is for this piece of, I think it's 7 inches long by 3/4 inch. You take that, center it on that notch. I go over top of it, and then I turn, and what I'm going to do is sew out to just past my drill hole. So get a little more light on this thing. So go just past my drill hole. So I'm gonna go there, then I'm gonna go down 1, 2, 3, then back over, then come around, and take the next one. The same thing is gonna go on the opposite side. Same notch, same hole. Go over top of it, sew out, so you're past the hole. Back tack it, and then come around. So then come down. Now there is some Velcro here. So you come down to the side here of this piece, and there's again a notch on each side. That's for the placement of our Velcro. I take the hook and loop, a 1-inch piece, I attach them. So I got a nice little strip here. I'm going to put the hook face down. Since this is a seat bag going on a bicycle, we don't want hook facing out, because it will come in contact with biker shorts and it'll snag and destroy Lycra. So we hide that as much as we can. The loop can be out because it's soft. As I come down here, once I get past the Velcro, I come down the end, I turn it under about 3/8 of an inch and come down to that, and I'm just going to go over and top stitch that. So I can come back up, look for my other notch. So there we go, we got that. Done. So now there's also on this side where the hole is, that's for our placement of our long piece of wet webbing. So I take one of those, I'm going to fold it in half, kind of pinch the halfway mark, just to help me mark where the center is. And I'm just going to come over here, lay that fold right across my hole, go off to the side of the hole just a little bit to make kind of a box X stitch, or modified Z-stitch, because I don't really enclose the box, just the sides. And back and forth, reinforce the whole thing, because that's a center point that's going to get a lot of play. The other part to this is there are these little half moon shaped pieces. They're in two stacks because one stack is a little bit bigger than the other. If you look here, what I've done is I just turn over one time and I top stitch that flat edge on both sides. Now what I'm going to do is take one each of these and I have to match it up to the corresponding side because one side is actually bigger than the other side. So this fits well there and the other one fits, you know, actually, yeah, fits well there. Does this, it can be kind of hard, yeah. Just pick the best one that seems to be as close to the size. So I'm going to take that, and again, I'm just going to tack this in place. And then I take this one over to that one. Alright, so we take that. Okay, so it's, like I said, just tacked in place. And so that's the first half of our seat bag. So I kind of take that part and I set it aside. The second part is our front and sides. So with this piece, I've already kind of done a lot of this. First step is going to be placing the reflective along here. There's a notch on both sides, so you kind of know where to start and stop it. Just make it as straight as you can. Get the stitch within a nice 1/8 of an inch of that edge. Then what I do is I put this onto my zipper, or I zipper down. I line it right up with the edge. You can see if you look at my zipper, the edge of the fabric is right along with the edge of the zipper. So I lay it right on there, then stitch it, flip it over, top stitch it. And also the placement of the zipper, I don't stretch it out too far so that there's a lot of zipper tape showing, but about halfway, because if it's too close, as you know, it'll get caught in your zipper pull. So we don't want that. Pull it back just enough so you have good placement on it and it works well. So I do that for the top and bottom. You notice the top will have a notch on one side and the bottom has a notch as well. So make sure those are on the outside so that you don't sew them in. Then there is a piece that gets laid over the ends. Again, I lay it down flat, I stitch it, back tack both ends, then fold it over and top stitch it. So now, depending on how much room you take with the zipper can determine how much room you have here. As you see, I've got a little bit of excess, and I'm just going to make sure when I sew this, I'm going to sew up along through here so that I catch more of this piece and not worry about that. I will take that into my seam later. So I got that. The next important step is to add the expansion gusset. So that's this piece. You see there's kind of some sharp ends and a rounded side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down with my sharp side down, and I'm going to stick in this zipper. So the way this goes, I take my zipper, turn it upside down. I'm going to lay that down in there, then I lay this right up in there. I align my corners up in there. I'm going to take this, give it a little stitch there. And so here's where I come along. If you can see this, I make sure I catch all the parts with a good seam allowance. If I go too far out, I'll miss this piece, which is hard to see from that, but Make sure you catch all the pieces. We don't want it to cut them apart. These have to last. Go along. I've got a zipper foot on here, so it allows me to just kind of ride right along the edge of the zipper and get a good seam on there. You know, I didn't pull this one enough, so I'm running a little short on this edge. So hold on.